All right, Leviticus 17, let's call this one the GOAT part 2, because chapter 17 is going to add insight into why it can be problematic, even in trying to compliment God, to call him the GOAT, as in the greatest of all time, because there are literal demons represented by goats that he's going to warn them about in this chapter, because the Egyptians that they served for over 400 years had a goat demon, or a goat god, by the name of Mendes, and it seems like the children of Israel had picked up some of those habits from the Egyptians and had picked up the tendency to sacrifice to goat gods as well. And so chapter 17 is going to talk about the place of sacrifice, because that's going to have a lot to do with how God is going to keep them away from straying back to wanting to worship false gods that really couldn't deliver the Egyptians. And in the second part, he's going to talk about the need to stay away from blood and the significance of blood. But we're going to focus on the goat demons and the purpose for him specifying the place where they need to sacrifice. That purpose statement is going to come in verse 5 of chapter 17, where it reads, this is to the end that the people of Israel may bring their sacrifices that they sacrifice in the open field, that they may bring them to the Lord, to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and sacrifice them as sacrifices of peace offerings to the Lord. And the priest shall throw the blood on the altar of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and burn the fat for a pleasing aroma to the Lord. So they shall no more sacrifice their sacrifices to goat demons, after whom they whore. This shall be a statute forever for them throughout their generations. Apologize for the strong language, but it comes from the literal translation of the ESV and many others, actually. But understand this. This portion of the law is talking about some things that are really, in a lot of ways, foreign to us in modern times. But one of the things that we say can help us in life in general and in understanding difficult or strange or foreign concepts is start with what you know. And what we know is that these goat demons are still a thing today, and they are a thing in modern day occultism. So I just want to pause this video, and this was going to be less of a lesson of kind of themes that we can see stretched out through the Bible on into the New Testament to make a life application to us today. The life application this time is going to be that, just like we talked about, repetition thematically in the text of the Bible helps to emphasize themes in life. Things that are repeated, even if they aren't repeated in the text of the Bible, can still do that same thing. They can still develop themes. And these goat demons have been a thing throughout history. And so I'm going to link articles in the description that help us to understand some of the connections between God's warnings here thousands of years ago to the children of Israel as they were first being established as a nation, that are still relevant to practices that are alive and well today. And so one of the things we want to say is, when we see things that are strange or unusual, sometimes it's important to properly, like we say, fact check. And we're in a time now where it's easy for us to see the flaws in what other people are doing online when they run with a clip or a link that they didn't fact check. But in life, sometimes we can go too far the other way, and instead of simply forwarding things without fact checking them, we can dismiss them without fact checking them. And this is one of the things one of the places where I just want to take a pause to give you an opportunity to say that the Bible still has historical relevance, even if you don't necessarily buy it as being the Word of God. And so for both the believer and the non-believer and everybody in between, chapter 17 of Leviticus gives you historical context for modern day occultism. And so we're going to link some of those articles that help us understand how this chapter is still relevant to the occult and the way in which it is practiced today. God's the best to you as you go forward in him, though.